What is up, everybody? Welcome to UFC Vegas 41 Best Bet, where we're going to give the best bet for each and every single fight on the card. And as always, there's only two rules. The rule number one, we're going to use current UFC lines. And rule number two, no passing. We're going to give a best bet on every single fight, even the Random Marcos versus Liviana Souza fight. And I am here with three guests. The first one being Clint, making his debut, I believe, on my channel. Clint, what is up? You looking forward to this stacked card?
Brady, what's up, buddy? It's been a little bit. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very much looking forward to this card. Y'all know that I love dumpster diving, and this is exactly my kind of specialty. We got 14 fights to kick our day off. I'm pumped, man. This is going to be a good one.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great card. And then we have Narco Cop as well. Narco, you looking forward to the card today?
Always looking forward to cards. Happy to be here. Thank you to everybody in chat that's here. And what's up to Clint and Uncle Wheezy?
Sounds good. Then we have Wheezy. Wheezy, what is up? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's fight day. I got a lot of violence bets. I'm going to be walking around my living room chanting violence the entire day. Maybe even I'm going to start drinking a little bit early today. I don't know, but I am fired up for this card, ready to share some bets with you guys.
Sounds good. So before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video. Also subscribe to the channel. We go live every Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims, no matter what time. You want to shout out the chat. Rex Lee, first one in the chat saying t-shirt. I like it. Dustin in the chat as well. We have Henry, Astrid, Al Capone. We have Dad Truder. We have Planet Whisperer. We have Steve and David and DXJC. Thank you all for hanging out the UFC fight predictor. If y'all can leave a like, that'd be much, much appreciated. But I say we get into the fight card. We have 14 fights to get through, so we're going to try to fly through it here. And we have the very first fight of the night, which I actually do like this fight. We have Jonathan Martinez going against Lazavilli, the newcomer, Georgian. And let's start off with Clint. Clint, what is your best bet for this first fight on the card?
My best bet on this one, Brady, is pretty simple, man. I'm going to fade the market. The bookmakers opened this one with our undefeated Georgian warrior as a minus 200. Everyone else has decided that was disrespectful to Jonathan Martinez. And somebody got on me yesterday, man. I did say that it was disrespectful for Jonathan Martinez to be that big of a dog, but it's like arguing with your parents. Is it disrespectful? Yes. Does it mean you're wrong? No. So I'm going to go ahead and side with the undefeated Georgian warrior here in a small cage. If he can get 2 rounds done just by takedowns and control, he gets this win. So I'm going to say minus 110 on Zavid.
Yeah, sounds good. Looks like the line has closed up ever since. It's now a straight pick 'em on most books. So, yeah, definitely in some interesting line movement there. So Clint is on the Lazavilli side. Narco, which way you leaning here?
I actually have a track bet of Martinez plus 168. I got in early. The line has flipped. So my best bet, the more I looked at this fight, the more I'm liking this best bet right now. I like Martinez round 3 plus 1600. And my reasoning is short notice for Zavad, grappling heavy style. I think if Martinez is to stuff some of those takedowns, make this guy work. We saw it in the Josh Huber fight. This guy slows down in the 3rd round. This guy gets tagged on the feet, and Martinez is a very good striker. So, if Martinez can get to that round 3 and make this guy actually work for his takedowns and use his get-ups and make this guy consistently work throughout these first 2 rounds, I think he will have the cardio edge in that 3rd round, and he is the much better striker here on the feet. So give me that plus 1600 Martinez round 3.
Sounds good, Narco. And I'm going to agree with you. I actually have this exact play. I got it at plus 1400, though. They actually moved it to plus 1600. Just my luck there. But for me, I'm going to actually go with the Martinez wins by KO at plus 380. My reason in being, I think Lazavilli is going to have success early. I actually really like what I see from the guy. There are some problems, though. Of course, the level of competition, then also the gas tank. I've seen him slow down bad in fights. And if he does slow down here, especially coming in on short notice, I could definitely see, like you said, Narco, the 3rd round prop hitting. But I kind of like that Martinez KO. I think he's going to catch him at some point. I don't think the striking is there from the Lazavilli side. But yeah, it's a very close fight. I do see why it's a pick 'em, but I think Martinez does catch him at some point. And plus 380 by KO, I do like that. Also like the 3rd round sprinkle there. Wheezy, which way you leaning? Are you on more of the Clint Lazavilli side, or are you more on the Martinez side here?
Yeah, I'm more on the Martinez side here, and I'm going to completely echo everything that Narco Cop said, because I also have a quarter unit bet on Martinez in round 3 here. You know, Lazavilli coming in on short notice with the wrestling heavy game plan. We've seen him slow down in the 3rd round in the past. if he can't get those takedowns in the third round, you got to figure just being a short notice fight with that kind of a game plan, we could easily see this guy slow down in the third at plus 1,400. It's just too juicy. And now you guys can get it better than where I got it at plus 1,600. That's the best bet for me on this one.
Yep, I like it there, and I'm really looking forward to Lazavilli. I think he's going to be a problem. The guy's legit, but short notice, I could see him slowing down here. Stevie with the dono, looking forward to you guys winning me some money tonight. Hopefully we do. Hopefully everybody cashes tonight and we win some money. But I say we move on to the next fight on the card. Could be the best fight on the card. We have Livian Souza going against Randa Marcos. Let's stick with you, Weezy. Weezy, what is your best bet for this fight?
Okay, so I'm going to give you not just a little bit of betting advice here, but how about a little bit of life advice from your Uncle Weezy on this fight? Okay, so I'm not betting on this fight. I'm probably not even going to watch this fight. But when you're in a situation where you're a degenerate gambler and you're watching the fights and a fight comes up where you don't know who's going to win and you want to have some kind of action on it, bet the draw. Betting draws is so much fucking fun, you guys. You have no idea. You can root for things that you never root for in mixed martial arts. You can be like, grab the fence. You know, you could be, my girlfriend actually caught me yelling when I was watching the fights. I had a draw like 3-4 months back. I yelled, punch him in the dick. Right? You root for things when
the
you
old
have a
dick
draw.
twist.
Yeah, you know, get him in the deck. You know, you start rooting for things that you would never ever root for. It's such a fun thing to root for a draw, to root for nobody winning, because we don't win in a fight like this. So why should they win? Plus 6,600. Put $1 on it. Put $2 on it. If it comes out even, you come out way ahead. You get to root for a bunch of fun shit like fouls, eye pokes, fence grabs, bad reffing, and even bad judging, which we get plenty of. So bet the draw. Have some fun.
There you have it. The draw. I see plus 8,000 Weezy on Bet365. There you go. Let's see what happens. If you hit that call, it'll be legendary. But Narco, are you on the draw side with Weezy? Or are you looking at something else here?
Yeah, I'm actually not very sold on the draw, but I see the angle from Uncle Weezy. I don't know why you're doing this to me, Brady. I have to take a best bet on this fight, and I honestly don't have a best bet, but I had to pick something because those are the rules, and I went with Marcos by decision plus 150. I see this fight actually going to decision either way. I kind of like Marcos's aggression. I kind of like Marcos having the stronger like grappling here, and you know, Souza for me just, you know, doesn't do it, and not that Marcos does it, because none of these girls do it for me, but I couldn't really find much, so I will go with Marcos by decision plus 150.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you somewhat, Narc. I'm going to take the easy way out here. I'm just going to say I think the fight goes to decision minus 250 is not horrible. It's like a parlay piece. I have no bets on this fight myself, but I do see this going the distance outside of like an armbar from guard or something crazy like that. I think the minus 250 is not horrible, but yeah, this is a fight I'm not too interested in. Clint, do you have any interest in this fight, and also any best bet that is sticking out?
No, I don't have any interest. Rooting for my redhead Randa Marcos because I want to see her keep her job and have another opportunity in the UFC. But at the end of the day, I do think her time has probably simply come and gone. And I didn't bet this fight. I understand everybody saying Randa Marcos is the value side, and I thought so too at first. But I think this is kind of a buy low spot on Livinia Souza at the end of the day. No one could think of her looking any worse than what she just did in her last fight. She got knocked out. She looked awful. She didn't try. This is the opportunity for her to get right. She's a fighter with a future. Randa Marcos is not. And honestly, this is the exact type of fight where Marcos makes a terrible decision, slips up, ends up tapping. I think that if you're gonna bet this one, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not touching this thing. I'm not loading up on Livinia Souza or anything. So if I was gonna bet this thing, it'd be Souza by submission at 6-1. That'd be the way that I'd look, put a sprinkle on that, root for something crazy to happen, because something always crazy happens in a Randa Marcos fight, and then just move on.
I feel that. I have the same feeling as you. I feel like something crazy is going to happen. So I just want to stay as far away from this fight as possible. But Yep, we'll see what happens though. So we'll move on to the next fight, and we have a very good one. Like this is probably one of my favorite fights on the card. We have Jeff Molina going against Daniel Da Silva. Let's start with Narco Cop. Narco, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Violence. Under 2.5 at plus money, guys. I would actually go with that. I have a lot of bets on this actual fight. Tracked bets. I have Molina straight. I have under 2.5, which I think is the best bet. And I also have Molina KO round 2 and round 3 at big plus money odds.
There we go. Looks like we're seeing it.
I'm sorry, I didn't really break it down much, but Lasarda is basically a guy that just goes out there and goes for it. And Molina is a guy that pressures like crazy, very good gas tank. And Lasarda just never been to the third round, man. This thing is stopping one way or another. So that's why I do like that under 2.5.
No, I get the angle, and I think all four of us are actually on that third round prop of Molina, so that should be fun for sure. I'm gonna agree with you though, Narco. I'm actually want the fight doesn't go to decision -106. You mentioned it. Da Silva's never seen a third round. I don't think he's ever seen like the over 1.5 mark as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna finish one way or another. I can see it being Da Silva early or Molina late, like that third round sprinkle, like you mentioned. I think the third round props around plus 1,400, plus 1,600. So yep, I like the fight doesn't go. Covers both sides. Covers a lot of outcomes there. Give me the fight doesn't go up -106. Clint, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys more on this spot. This is my first early big decision as far as plays go for me. I laid the 1.6 units on Molina at -160. I've got Molina by knockout for a half unit at plus 450. And then, of course, I've got that third round sprinkle looking for him to get the finish late. The big thing is this kid comes out early and aggressive. Daniel comes in hard. Molina is a durable little bastard, and he will not stop fighting for your money. He comes, from the James Krause camp, Glory MMA. We know those guys like to take a beating and come back, and he really does that. He cranks up the intensity of the fight as it gets deep. So I fully expect him to be there and kicking in round 2. And then once Daniel sees the first round 3 of his career, he's not going to know what to do with himself. So if the money line cashes, I'm going to have a small profit on it. That's really all I need. So if the knockout cashes, then we're looking pretty. And if he knocks him out in round 3, it's going to be an early score.
I like it. Yeah, Molina is a freak in round 3. Like this guy landed like 127 significant strikes in his debut just in the third round. So, Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo everything you guys just said. I've got 3 bets on this fight, actually. I've got the fight doesn't go to decision at plus 130 for 2.5 units. I just thought it was crazy that a guy in Lacerda, 11 or 12 professional fights, been out of the first round once. I mean, if you can get plus money on a fight doesn't go for a guy who's been into the second round once in his career, and a guy like Molina, who's so dangerous and also does leave openings on the feet, it was just a slam dunk. It was a way bigger over bet or under bet than I usually make. But yeah, 2.5 units on that. I've got a half unit on Molina to win inside the distance, and I've got a quarter unit on plus 1,400. Molina wins in round 3. Yeah, dude, this is going to be a violent spot. I loaded up on all the violence bets. If Molina wins this fight in round 3, it's going to be a huge day for me.
I feel it. I think we all on the panel feel that same exact thing as well. So hopefully the fight delivers. Looks like we all are pretty invested in it. But let's move on to the next fight, which is another one of my favorite fights on the card. We have Kama Worthy going against Jai Herbert, another fight that I feel like is going to be very violent. Clint, what are you looking at here in terms of a best bet?
Man, this is a fireball and popcorn fight for me. I'm completely passing, completely staying away. I first thought, like everybody else did, that this one just screams violence because, of course, why wouldn't it? Both these guys have chin issues. Both these guys are big, heavy-powered strikers. And then I kind of thought back on it, and you know what? We see a trend when fighters come off of multiple finish losses that they take it slow. They look to get that dub no matter how it costs them, and they look to protect themselves and extend the fight. So I've got a sneaky sensation that this one ends up being a more technical battle and probably goes over that 1.5, maybe even makes it to the judges' scorecards. So there's too many conflicting things for me that I don't really want to get involved. I am picking Jai Herbert to get the win, and I think Jai Herbert by knockout because of that reach advantage and the chin issues of Kama Worthy. I think that makes some sense. But you can't count out a bomb from Kama Worthy. And we've seen Jai get stuck on his back that even though Kama never wrestles, if he decided to come out here and wrestle to protect his chin, he could just wet blanket this guy for 15 minutes. I can see way too many pads. I am not betting this fight. If you made me take a bet, I would probably just sprinkle Jai Herbert in round 3, thinking that as the fight gets extended and maybe Kamaworthy slows down, he gets clipped late, something like that. But again, this is a complete stay away for me.
Sounds good. Yeah, Herbert round 3. I see a plus 1,000. Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with the Herbert wins by KO. I see a plus 110. The reason being is Kamaworthy. I think his chin is absolutely shot. The guy's been knocked out like 7 times in his career. He's very hittable. Both guys are hittable though, so I would not be shocked at all if Worthy was able to get that knockout. But Worthy, his chin's not there. I think one punch is all it's going to take. Clint, you mentioned the size of Herbert. I was really shocked at what I saw at the weigh-ins. Herbert was a lot bigger. Was not expecting that. So he's going to have a height advantage, a reach advantage. I do like his striking as well. I think he's the more skilled fighter, but Worthy, you cannot count this guy out. This guy has the death touch, and Herbert is very hittable himself. Herbert's very chinny himself. I think someone gets knocked out one way or another, but I'm more so leaning towards the Herbert by knockout side at plus 110. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, I've got Jai Herbert down as my ass shaving of the week, and I actually do think he knocks out Kamaworthy in the first round. But I would actually caution people to not make that KO bet because there's literally no value in it. The inside the distance bet is the same exact line. Herbert inside the distance is
minus 110.
It's like, plus 100, minus 110. You can even get plus 110 on one of the books. And then and then by KO, it's like almost the same thing. So you might as well just go inside the distance. You never know. Maybe he clips him and then jumps on a choke or something like that. But yeah, inside the distance, definitely the way to go. I've also got a 2.4 unit bet on the fight doesn't go to decision here. We've got, between these two guys, we've got 11 career losses. All of those losses have been inside the distance. And of those 11 combined losses between Herbert and Worthy, 9 of those 11 losses have been by knockout. And Worthy, 0 takedown attempts in his UFC career. Herbert, 0 takedown attempts in his UFC career. This fight's going to stay on the feet. It should almost definitely be a knockout. I'm just saying, Brady, bet the inside the distance because there's literally like maybe 1 or 2% chance there of the implied probability of a submission happening. You might as well just cover both.
No, I agree. And good point there. Like we saw Verna Jandaroba get a TKO win. Like I can't believe that. I still can't believe that. Ruined my sub.
We bet the sub on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So Worthy could tap to strike. Something crazy could happen like that. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree there. Just take the inside the distance. It's much safer. Narco Cop, what are you looking at here?
So I have a bet. Fight doesn't start round 3 at minus 132. It's currently sitting at minus 176, still under the market on FanDuel. I still like that play. These guys have a total combined losses of 11 losses. Only one, all of them have been stoppages. Only one of them has been to the 3rd round as a stoppage. So, I honestly cannot see how this fight gets to that 3rd round clip with these two guys. As aggressive as Herbert is, and both of them do have a lot of power on the feet, and I honestly do not see Worthy. I based on what I see with stats, what I see on tape, I cannot see Worthy grappling here. He just doesn't do it, so I have to go with what I see. That fight doesn't start round 3, minus 176. I still like that price.
Yeah, and you definitely got a good price earlier in the week for sure. Still don't mind it now. Tajik Bey, we got the GOAT in the chat. Great show. What a fantastic lineup. Good luck today, everybody. Good luck to you as well. Go. Appreciate you for the dono. Small but big saying, just got out of the shower. My ass is freshly shaved for Wheezy and ready for another Saturday with the boys. There you go, Wheezy. Shaving that ass for you. All right. So let's move on to the next fight, though. We have this is another one I'm not too excited about. We have Lariana Staropoli going against Jamie Pickett. Wheezy, do you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, sure. So I'm definitely not betting this fight, you guys. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. But if you put a gun to my head and said, what bet cash is here, I would say the over 2.5. Stiropoli, very durable. Pickett, supposed to be durable. He got cleaned up by Wright in the last fight, but Wright's pretty explosive in that first 3 minutes. So I don't see that kind of explosiveness out of his opponent Stiropoli here. I think it goes over, but I am not betting this fight, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Weez. I actually took the fight goes to decision -175. Don't really see a finish here. I mean, outside of maybe a Pickett knockout, but I'm going to say, both guys are very durable. Both guys aren't like devastating finishers. I'm going to say it does squeak over. I think it's going to be a very close, very grimy decision. Could really go one way or another, but I'm going to take the fight goes -175. Keep it safe. Clint, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Man, this is one that my thoughts have gotten stronger and stronger as the week went on. I felt like it was weird because Leonardo Staropoli shouldn't be favored this much over anybody, much less somebody at 185. The man is a 170 pounder. He's caught between weight classes. Like, he is too small for 185, and he has a hard time making it down to 170. I think it might be a discipline issue. He's a young kid that just can't quite seem to figure it out. Now he's taken this step up to 185, and why are we so confident that he should be this big of a favorite here? I don't get it. I think Jamie Pickett is a guy who has underperformed so far in his UFC career. Even though he has underperformed, he's shown flashes of brilliance. He's a guy that just needs to put it all together. And what he's got is the perfect opponent in front of him to do that. A smaller man, a man who he's not going to fear in the striking realm, because let's face it, Leonardo Staropoli doesn't knock anybody out. He doesn't have that fight-ending power. He's not going to scare Pickett when they're on the feet. So Pickett finally will have the opportunity to pull the trigger. He's been scared to do so against guys like Jordan Wright, who can knock out any man alive. So it makes sense why he'd be a little tentative in that spot. That won't be the case here today. He's going to bully Leonardo Staropoli. We've seen Staropoli get taken down. We've seen him smothered on his back because he's the smaller man. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Jamie Pickett is a much more talented wrestler than people give him credit for. And then when they are on the feet, he's going to have, I think, a 6-inch reach advantage. So even though he has a hard time pulling the trigger, even though he has a hard time using that reach, like, he's got such an advantage there that we can't ignore it. And an opponent who's exceptionally hittable, who will go 1-for-1 with him in the striking. So I'm taking Jamie Pickett here. And like I said, over the course of the week, my confidence has gotten unnecessarily high on this bet. I did put a half unit on Pickett by knockout at 7-1. I think this is his moment to shine. I think he finally puts it all together today.
Pickett by knockout, 7-1. But yeah, I think we all can agree, like, this line is off. So yeah, don't fault you at all for taking a shot on the dog. Narco Cop, what are you looking at here? Staropoli, Pickett.
So I'm going to go based off everything you guys said, including you, Brady. You said this fight is going to be real close. You said this line is off. You said this fight is most likely going to go to decision because both guys are durable. So why not pick it by decision plus 380? I think exactly what Clint said here is, I think he's going to be able to bully Stiropoli. I think he's going to be able to take him down, take advantage of that grappling, take advantage of that strength, and keep this guy down, win minutes. And, you're getting a nice plus money tag on a guy that's the bigger fighter, on a guy that shouldn't be at 185 in Stiropoli. And, Pickett is a big dude at 85. So, you know what? I love that. Plus, I didn't have this play earlier up until yesterday when I looked over my Lambo plays. And, I do like this play now at plus 380.
Yeah, I don't hate it, guys. I do not hate it whatsoever. I think it's going to be a very close fight. Yeah, the plus 380 is just crazy. And the line in general, right? The line in general is just insane. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a close fight. But yeah, don't hate your guys' calls there. But let us move on to the next fight. We have Tabitha Ricci going against Maria Oliveira. Let's stick with you, Narco. Narco, what are you looking at here for a best bet?
Again, I couldn't really make out of a best bet here because I am honestly not impressed with Ricci whatsoever. I know, the MMA community in general kind of loves Ricci this week. I don't see it. I don't like how she fights. I don't like her on the feet. I don't like her wrestling. But again, Maria Oliveira is not great. She's very noodly, very just like flimsy looking when you watch her tape. And so if I'm to give a play, hopefully Maria Oliveira stuffs some takedowns, makes Ricci work. And if it stays on the feet, I do like Oliveira. So the plus 235 would probably be my best bet, but it's not a bet for me.
So the plus 235 side, Clint, are you more on the Oliveira side or the Ricci side here?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the Ricci crowd, man. I think there's way too much to ignore when it comes to that takedown defense. And that's really all this thing comes down to, is that we have no evidence that Maria has improved her takedown defense game, and she's going to be a fish out of water on the mat. Even if Tabitha Ricci doesn't snap her arm off in the first round, which I think she does, she's going to end up being able to expose that grappling weakness and just smother her over the course of the fight. So even if it's cage control, even if it's just takedowns, even if it's wet blanket, like I think Ricci gets her hand raised at the end. I've got her in a parlay, and I do have a half unit on the sub prop at plus 330 from earlier in the week.
Sounds good. Wheezy, what are you looking at for Tabitha Ricci, Oliveira?
I'm looking at violence. That's what I did. I was waiting for the line to open. When they under 2.5 opened at plus 165, I hit it for 1.5 units. When I handicap whether I want to bet an over or an under, and I mostly bet unders because betting the overs will take years off your life, whether you cash them or not. But when you bet those unders, the thing that I look at is I look at all the combined losses of the two fighters in the fight and what percentage of those were finished inside the distance. For this fight, we've got a total of 5 losses and 4 of them were finished inside the distance. That's an 80% implied probability if that's how you're summing up how you're going to, value this line, which would be, minus 400. So when I saw it at plus 165 for the under 2.5, I hit it. Oliveira's striking's pretty good, and she didn't look much bigger at the weigh-ins, but she does have the reach advantage here. She does have the length advantage, the height advantage, and she's the better striker. So she might be able to catch Ricci coming in, shooting in for a shot, catch her with something big. But, what I really think will happen is that Ricci will take her down and eventually sub her. The ground game just not good for Oliveira. So, I'm betting violence here. I would bet the fight doesn't go or the under 2.5. And find out which one of these ladies can get it done inside the distance today.
Yeah, we were talking about at the weigh-ins. I was expecting Oliveira to tower over Ricci, but that definitely wasn't the case. I'm going to go with you though, Weezy. I do like the under 2.5 rounds. I do like the violence. I think it does cover both sides. If Ricci's able to get a takedown, I think the fight's going to be over shortly after. I don't mind the Ricci sub. On the flip side, if she's not able to get the takedown for some reason, if Oliveira has magically improved her takedown defense over the course of a year or two, then yeah, she potentially could get knocked out. We have seen her get knocked out before. Mind you, it was by Manafioro, but I'm more so on Ricci being able to get her down and probably finishing the fight shortly after. But under 2.5 rounds, plus 105, covers both sides there. We have Stiropoli by decision saying, Alex, we have 9-inch reach. Talking about so Pickett actually has a 9-inch reach advantage. That's insane. That's insane. Simp bet, Peter saying simp bet. Yeah, no simping for me. No simping for me. So we'll move on. We have Mason Jones going against David Onama. Mason Jones was supposed to take on Alan Patrick. Patrick pulled out in steps newcomer Onama. And I actually really like this guy. I think it's going to be a very good fight for as long as it lasts. And let's start with Narco Cop. Narco, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I love my man, Mason Jones, man. This guy's a dog. I don't hate what I see from Onama. I just think he's still green watching him. Decent striker, has good power, kind of not really good on the ground. And what I like here is Mason Jones is the much better grappler. Mason Jones is a BJJ black belt. Mason Jones knows what he's doing on the ground. And the path of least resistance for him here is taking this fight to the ground. And, at plus 550, 500 range for a submission, I like that play. Onama this is just a bad spot for him, man. A guy like Jones, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of volume, a lot of, dog in this guy. It takes, you got to hit this guy with, a ton of bricks to get this guy out of there because his chin is so good. So this is just a bad spot for Onama going up against a guy like Mason Jones. And I think if he gets this to the ground, that's his world compared to what Onama does down there. So yeah, give me Mason Jones by submission at plus 550.
Yeah, I like that. That was actually one that really did stick out to me because I think the biggest discrepancy in this fight is going to be the ground game. Mason Jones is a legit BJJ black belt. I want to say Onama is like a blue belt in BJJ. I think he just got it as well. So I think the ground game is going to be a massive advantage for Jones. I don't mind that submission. What I did though was I took the under 2.5 rounds minus 185. The reason being is I think someone gets finished here one way or another. I think it could potentially be Onama early. Mason Jones is very, very hittable. Like you said, though, Narco, he has a very good chin to back it up. But it would have completely shocked me if Onama starts him in like the first 60 seconds, first couple of minutes. But I think most likely scenario is Mason Jones does grind this guy, gets him down, gets either a TKO or submission. So I do like the under 2.5 rounds. covers both sides, and I do like that more than the minus 425 price tag on Mason Jones. So looking for violence here. Uncle Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight?
Yeah, pretty much the same, you guys. Jones inside the distance around minus 150 here. I think he wins this fight. I think he wins it inside the distance. You know, the short notice opponent for Onama. He's also coming up a weight class here. UFC debut. Could be a big adrenaline dump. Jones is just an absolute killer. I just echo everything Narco Cop said about what a baller this dude is, how tough he is. He's going to be really fun to watch. And I think Onama will be as well. This is going to be a fun fight, but I love Jones inside the distance. Minus 150 isn't too bad. 1.5 units to win one seems like a good bet for me.
Don't hate it. Don't disagree. Clint, what are you looking at for this fight here?
This is one that I'm going to agree basically with everything everybody else said. I like Mason Jones. I've got him inside the distance. I'm fighting off a sneeze, so move on from me.
All right, sounds good. We do have 345 people in here. If you all could smash the like button, be sure to tune in every Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelim start. We'll always be here, and we'll always be giving the best bet for each and every other fight. So it looks like we're all on the same page. It looks like we are on Mason Jones probably getting it done, and probably getting it done inside the distance. So let us move on. Let us move on to the next fight. We have Jung Young Park going against Gregory Rodriguez. Uncle Weezy, let's start with you here.
Okay. You know, this is a fight that I'm not going to be betting on. My pick is Rodriguez, but I have no confidence in it whatsoever. You know, there was something that you showed me last night. There was a line that was way off, Brady. You know, Park by submission, or I mean, Rodriguez by submission was plus 2,000 somewhere. That was absolutely bonkers, completely way off, made no sense. Congratulations to everybody that got on that line. But, dude, I don't even have anything. I guess I would just go with the minus 110 on Gregory Rodriguez, but believe me, I am not betting this fight. I think you could even get away betting a draw. It's that close.
Sounds good. Yeah, I actually do agree with you. I'm going to go with the Rodriguez money line here. At the weigh-ins, I was shocked how big Gregory Rodriguez is. This guy is huge. I already liked him already. I did miss the money line earlier in the week. He was plus money. Wish I would have hopped on then. He's now minus 134. I still don't hate that. It'll actually open up plus 124, but I think he's going to mix in the takedowns, exploit that takedown defense of Park. I think it's like 43%, something crazy like that. I think his striking is very good as well. And then, yeah, he's a legit grappler. I would not be shocked in the slightest if he was able to find a submission. Park has been submitted 2 times in his career, got submitted in his debut against Fluffy Hernandez. I hope there's a sub. I really do. I did get a little bit on that plus 2,000 sub prop, but yeah, give me Gregory Rodriguez. I'm going to take the money line. The size I think is going to be apparent in this fight. Like at the weigh-ins, it was crazy. So Clint, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I'm right there with you, Brady. At the end of the day, the size did it for me. I was kind of going back and forth on this one. I thought, contender series hype, we see that all the time. Maybe Gregory Rodriguez isn't what we thought he was. And then you see them face off, and it's like, holy shit, like this guy should be fighting up 2 weight classes compared to Park. I know Park is the Iron Turtle. I know he's tough to handle, but Gregory Rodriguez grapples, and that size and strength advantage is going to be a problem. We've seen Jung Young Park taken down and put on his back before. I think that's what Rodriguez will be able to do. I actually took the money line. I got minus 120 on Rodriguez, and then I did take a half unit shot on Rodriguez by submission at 9-1 because we've seen Jung Young Park give up his back. We have seen him give up his neck, and while he is the Iron Turtle, he has tapped a couple of times. You might not be able to knock this guy out, but a dude the size of Rodriguez, let's not count out that club and sub. I think there's a chance for him to get it done.
I like it. I like it. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Pretty much on the same side, but I actually like I have a play on Rodriguez at minus 110, and I do have a play on Rodriguez by decision plus 250. I kind of echo some of the stuff you guys are saying. This is going to be a close fight. Both guys are pretty good strikers. Rodriguez is massive for this division, and I do agree with Clint as far as getting takedowns here. Like Rodriguez, if he wants to get a takedown, I think can. Meanwhile, on the other end, if Park wants to get takedowns here, Rodriguez is actually really good at defending takedowns. Very, very strong guy. So, in the striking realm, I kind of favor Rodriguez also because of the power aspect and the size and reach advantage. So, yeah, I see it as a really close fight. And Rodriguez by decision at plus 250 is not a bad look.
Yeah, I was thinking Rodriguez either by sub or decision. I don't know if he's going to knock out the Iron Turtle. The guy's very tough, has never been knocked out. So, yep, don't hate that decision call. I think it's going to be either a decision or a sub. But let us move on to the next fight. And we have Nikolai Negumereanu going against Ike Villanueva. I have a feeling this one is going to have some violence involved as well. Clint, what are you looking at here for this fight?
Man, this is a fight that I hate. I've talked about it at these last couple shows I've done every single time. I bet Ike Villanueva at plus 200, and I can't stand it. He's way undersized. Negumereanu is a guy with a much more he's much more durable. That's all it comes down to. I don't think Negumereanu is very good. Honestly, I think there's going to be a great opportunity to fade him coming up in the future, but this guy walks people down and he punches them in the mouth until they quit. And while that's the perfect game plan for Ike Villanueva, Ike is going to be in there swinging for the fences, and this is going to be a great fight as long as it lasts. We've seen Ike cave. We've seen Ike be the one that gets hurt to the body. He's not iron like Negumereanu is. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Negumereanu by KO, but I do have Ike at plus 200, and there's not much option for me to do except ride it out at this point and hope maybe Ike is the one that happens to catch him with an uppercut on his way in or something, but I do not like that bet whatsoever right now.
Well, if it cashes for you, that you'll like that. But yeah, it's
I'll feel differently.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Ike Villanueva, he very well can win this fight. Negumereanu has a 26% striking defense, and although you're right, he's tough as nails, Ike does hit hard. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, Clint. I do think that this fight's going to finish. I think somebody's going to get knocked out. What it actually took was going to be the under 2.5 rounds, minus 190 here. I think someone's going to sleep one way or another. Ike Villanueva has been finished like 11 times in his career, a lot by knockout, a lot by sub. I think Negumereanu probably does get him out of here. But again, Ike Villanueva, he's going to have opportunities. Negumereanu is very, very hittable. That it's terrifying, like especially if you are laying the chalk on Negumereanu here. So yeah, I think someone gets finished one way or another. I don't think I'd play it any other way, but give me the under 2.5 rounds, minus 190. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Pretty much the same thing. Everything you guys said, I agree with you guys. Ike is to me, is a first round or bust type of person here. I don't know if this guy is really dedicated to MMA at this point. Guys all over the place. I mentioned it yesterday, weighing in at 233 in a heavyweight fight, then coming back down to, 185, 205. I mean, this guy's all over the place. So for me, Negumereanu is not good, especially when it comes to the striking defense, and he gets hit a ton. But the guy has an iron chin, like you guys mentioned. And, Villanueva does hit hard, but I just don't think this is his division at 205. I think this guy should be fighting at 185. Here, I just feel like, if this gets out of the first round, Villanueva is pretty much screwed based on Negumereanu's pressure and cardio. He's got the better cardio, better pressure. And like you mentioned, Villanueva's been finished 11 out of his 12 losses. And so why not take Negumereanu by KO at plus 210? I actually got it at 225, but I think it's down to 210 now.
Plus 210. Don't hate it. Somebody in the chat mentioned the fight ends in KO, which I don't hate that angle as well. I think last time I saw it was like minus 125 on FanDuel, the fight ending in KO. I think that's better than like the minus 300 fight doesn't go to decision. But Uncle Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, same thing, guys. I've actually got the fight ends in KO at minus 125, I believe. It's in my 4-leg violence parlay that I have on my Twitter account. If you want to check out that one, it's a 4-legger, all for fights not to go to decision or under 2.5s or under 2s. That's eligible for insurance on FanDuel. So check that one out. But yeah, look, Ike Villanueva has pathetic striking defense at 36.86%. But then Nick Negumereanu, not to be undone, says, you want bad striking defense, Ike? Check this out. 26.5%. For fucking, I mean, come on, man. This guy blocks punches with his face and smiles at you. He's got the Homer Simpson defense. You're not knocking this guy out, even if you bring a shovel into the cage. So I think what's going to happen is that Ike's going to just land on this dude. And then when he realizes he's not going to knock him out, Negumereanu will wind up knocking him out. But just in case Nick's chin cracks, fight ends by KO is so much better of a bet than fight doesn't go to decision. Because if you look at the guys that Negumereanu has submitted in his career, he got Dan Kanecki with a Bravo choke, 10-13. He got Constantine Padure 0-1 in a rear in an armbar, and then he got a rear naked choke against Kovacs Kami Kalman with a tough record of 2-15. So, he hasn't exactly submitted top level fighters, UFC level fighters. And even though Ike's been finished a ton, I think that the way that Nick is going to finish this is with a knockout, and the same thing for Ike. So fight ends in KO, pretty close to even money. Seems like a good bet to me.
That's not a bad look at all, Weezy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do like this. It's way better than the minus 300, right? Like, yeah, near
exactly. You're the one who pointed it out to me, Brady.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great bet. I mean, I was surprised you
no,
didn't
great bet,
it,
guys. I might have to tail that one.
Yeah, that's a really good one, man. There's a lot of value in that line. Like I say, I don't think Nick's submitting anybody at this level, but you never know. It could be a club and sub, something like that. So, yeah, we'll see. But fight ends in KO.
For that, don't hate it. Yeah, we just hit the 400 mark in here. Thank you all for hanging out on a Saturday. We have about 19 minutes before the fight start. We're going to get done by then. But before we do, you guys can hit the like. That'd be much appreciated. Also subscribe to the channel there so you don't miss out on all the content, including this show every Saturday. But we have the next fight on the card. We have Dwight Grant going against Francisco Trinaldo. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
So I sifted through this fight kind of looking for something. And actually, I found something that I don't mind actually playing now. It's Trinaldo by split or majority decision on DraftKings at plus 750. I think this fight's going to be a close fight. Trinaldo always seems to fight these close fights. Grant, kind of similar. We saw it in his last fight against Sekulic. Really, really close fight. I think he lost. They gave him the nod. But, Trinaldo's chin is kind of a worry here. He's been knocked down in his last two fights. Albeit, I think those are better strikers than Dwight Grant is. Dwight Grant will have a reach and size advantage in this fight, but I just don't like a lot of what Dwight Grant does. I think if Trinaldo is able to get this guy to the ground, he will have some top time. So, Trinaldo split majority decision plus 750. Sign me up.
I could see it, man. I definitely could see it. Yeah, I think this fight probably does go to decision as well. I think it's probably very close, so I definitely get your angle. Kind of my hot take for the week, I'm going to say Grant does knock him out. I'm going to go with plus 380, Grant by knockout. The problem is Trinaldo, of course, has never been knocked out, but he has been knocked down in his last two fights. I think that the durability is diminishing a little bit, and Grant hits very, very hard. At this point, Trinaldo is 43 years old. I don't think his cardio is great, and what sucks, I don't think Grant's good as well, but he does one thing, and one thing is hit very hard. So kind of a hot take, Grant by KO plus 380. I'd like a little bit better of a number because it's never happened before, but I think this could be the spot where he does finally crack that chin. So plus 380 there for me. Uncle Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Man, I hate this fight, and I don't have any bets on it. But I mean, what Narco Cop said sounds really good to me because I could see this being a really greasy, really close fight. Grant is so low volume, and Trinaldo is a guy that will take the easiest path trying to win. He's definitely got a more well-rounded game. He's definitely fought the much better competition. So, I think that he could pull out a greasy decision here, but I'm not going to steal Narco Cop's thunder. So I'm just going to say the over 2.5 around minus 165. You can get it right now. Trinaldo, notoriously tough. Grant, hard to finish as well. So, I'm going to think it goes over, but don't tail me. I'm not betting this fight.
Solid. And then Clint, what are you looking at here?
Sorry, I was on mute there for a second. This is another one, man, that I've struggled with basically all week. Trinaldo, I think, is the much better fighter. He's fought the much higher level experienced opposition. I think there's a lot of reasons to like Trinaldo here. And he's a Brazilian ageless wonder. He's going to be fighting till he's 60 years old. It doesn't matter. But we have seen him clipped. We have seen him hurt. We have seen him dropped in his last couple fights. That's a bit of a problem for me if he continues up at 170. Dwight Grant, on the flip side of this thing, has been nothing but disappointing for me. I really thought this guy was going to be something, and he's just kind of topped out. He's 36 years old, so I'm not expecting massive changes to his game. I'm not expecting massive improvements at this point. I think he is who he is. So I think Trinaldo's the rightful favorite, and Trinaldo probably gets it done by decision the way he always does, but I don't want to take that angle here. I know a lot of people are saying the knockout is coming, but we really don't have anything to base that off of except hoping that Grant can get it done. I like it. I like the plus money. I get the angle. So I'll wish you guys luck on the knockout. But I think at the end of the day, Trinaldo probably just does his usual tanky little thing and works his way to a decision. He might get robbed because I think he's going to have to rely a lot on like body locking and cage control. We know the judges don't like that. This thing could get really nasty, and I want no part of it, man. This is a complete pass for me, but I'll say Trinaldo wins.
Yeah, man, I think this is going to be a very, very greasy fight. I'm surprised Uncle Weezy didn't bring up the draw there, plus 8,000.
That's the one I said on the Lambo plays the other night, or not this fight actually. Sorry, that's a mistake. It was a different fight. What I said on this one though was Dwight Grant round 3. If you're gonna play something, Dwight Grant round 3 sounds not bad to me because you've got a over 40 veteran of the sport whose durability and gas tank are both being questioned. If Grant is going to get that knockout, it's probably when he's the younger, fresher fighter and hits harder when this fight gets deep. So Grant round 3 for a sprinkle. Maybe that's the way you look.
Fair enough. Yeah, plus 1,800 for that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not expecting a ton from this fight, though. We'll move on to the next fight, though. We have Alex Caceres going against Sungwoo Choi. We'll start with Wheezy. Wheezy, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, another fight that I don't have a decision or I don't have a bet on. But what I would say is Caceres is very, very difficult to knock out, and Choi doesn't have much of a submission game. So I think that Choi's path to victory here is via a decision. And right now, Choi's money line is pretty juiced up at around minus 265 is the best you can get it. But really, it's around minus 290. But Choi by decision is right around even money. And I think there's some value there. And like I say, Caceres is very, very difficult to finish by anything but submission. And Choi's not really submitting anybody. I think Caceres will make this kind of greasy, but I think Choi wins by decision around minus 110.
Choi decision, minus 110, not horrible. I'm going kind of the same route. I'm taking the safer route, though. Minus 176 for fight goes to decision. I think this does go to decision. I think it'll be a little bit closer than the line does indicate. We do see that Choi around minus 290. I think it'll be closer than that, but I think Choi is going to get it done and get it done by decision. But minus 176 covering both sides there. I think it does go to decision. I think Choi does squeak it out. Clint, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Choi closes out my parlay with Ricci. I've just got him parlayed with Ricci at even money. I do think that he's going to be the better fighter here. I think Alex Caceres is a bottom feeder, if I'm being completely honest. Choi might not have more output than Alex Caceres, but he hits so much harder. It's going to be optically pleasing for the judges when they see Alex Caceres run away from the power of Sungwoo Choi. And even though Alex Caceres has been durable, we can't count out a knockout with Choi. He's got that kind of fight-ending ability. I do think it'll go over. I do think Caceres will stay in this thing. It might go to a decision, but I think Choi is going to be clearly the winning side here on this fight. So I just parlayed him and tried to ignore the money line and the props.
There you go. So on the Choi side there, don't hate it. I think he does get it done. Narco Cop, are you on the Choi side? Are you on the Caceres side? Or are you looking at a prop here?
I'm actually on the Caceres side on a prop. I think this fight is going to be pretty close. Caceres is a vet. Caceres is probably going to have the more volume here because Choi doesn't really throw a lot of volume. And, on the feet, Caceres is very awkward, switching stances, the karate style. It's hard to gauge this guy on the feet. So, getting a huge plus money, plus 490 on decision for Caceres is actually not that bad in a fight that I don't see like Choi proactively grappling here to completely cover that price of his. So plus 490, I like it. I have an actual small bet on it.
Yeah, if you're on the Caceres side, I think that's absolutely the way to go. Adrian with the donut. Appreciate you, Adrian, saying late arrival, but never too late to leverage from this gang. Wishing everyone crushes. Appreciate you, Adrian. Hopefully you crush as well. So let us move on to the next fight. We have about 10 minutes left before the fights do kick off. We have Jessica Rose Clark going against Jocelyn Edwards. Let's start with you, Clint.
Man, this one seems almost identical to the previous women's fight that we talked about. I think that Jessica Rose Clark is going to have a strength advantage. I think she's going to have a wrestling advantage. She's been working with Daniel Cormier, Deron Wynn. That's what I've been pounding the drum on basically all week. We know her game plan is to come and wrestle. And when you've got a UFC fighter where you know the game plan, that's when you can make a solid bet, in my opinion. It's so many times we come out here and we have such limited information. We have no idea what they're going to do once they get in the cage. Rose Clark is grappling, folks. Like, we know that. We know that her opponent, Jocelyn Edwards, has poor takedown defense. She's got that cool little reversal thing that she does where she like completely flips over after she gets mounted, which questionable strategy, but hey, at least she's got an out. I think that Jessica Rose Clark is just going to be the stronger fighter. I think she's going to muscle her to the ground. I think she's going to win this thing by wet blanket, and we know she's aggressive with those elbows. I wouldn't even count out a ground and pound TKO if she ends up getting the back or something like that. The referee could step in and save her opponent here. I'm expecting decision, but I've got Rose Clark at -130. I think the line may be getting a little bit out of hand, so you might want to look at the Rose Clark by decision line, something along those lines, if you actually want to play this one at this point. But I do think she gets the win.
Yeah, Clint, I'm going to 100% agree with you. I think Clark by decision is the play that I do have here, +130. And I agree. I think she's going to use that wrestling-heavy game plan. I mean, she's got to know that Jocelyn Edwards has a huge hole in her game, and that hole is that takedown defense. I think she does wrestle here, get it down to the mat, and I think she does grind out a decision. +130 is what I'm looking at. Narco Cop, what are you looking at here for this fight?
I couldn't agree more with what Clint said. Like, he hit it to the T. So I have a bet on Clark by decision at +130. But exactly what Clint said, if you want to get frisky here, and he said this girl's gonna take her down, and Clark and Edwards is not very good down there, I don't mind the shot with Clark by submission at +1100. I think that line is way off.
+1100.
Yeah, I like it. Wheezy, what are you looking at here for this one here?
Dude, I'm looking at Clark inside the distance at +400. She's mean. She's vicious. And now that I know that she's wrestling with Daniel Cormier, I listened to her interview today. She's getting a lot of wrestling work. She was absolutely filthy on the ground against Alpar. And if she does that to Edwards, I think Edwards is going to find the door because Alpar is stupid tough. Clark wins this inside the distance. It's +400. It's a nice hit if it happens. And I think she's really tough. She has not been back to Australia. She has not been under a lockdown. She's been training in California with some killers. I think she's going to really make this greasy on the ground, and we could see her get a finish here.
I like it. And yeah, shout out to Narc. I was watching his stream last night, and shout out to Tajik Bey the GOAT. He actually threw out the Edwards by KO +1600. I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty juicy. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement, though. We are all on the Clark side, but we'll move on. We have 2 fights left. Let's go to the co-main event. We have Grant Dawson going against Ricky Glenn. Kick it off for us, Narco Cop.
So, you know, Grant Dawson is a guy that basically smothers you, puts a lot of pressure, good cardio. Ricky Glenn, extremely tough, 29 fights, only been stopped once. I think that was Lance Palmer. And I kind of said the same thing on my show yesterday. Grant Dawson is going to use a similar game plan to what Palmer did, right? Grinding, taking him down, lots of ground and pound, putting just absolute lots of pressure on this guy, Glenn, who's only fought once in 3 years, took a long layoff, and his last fight only lasted 37 seconds, guys. So for me, this guy's been out for 3 years. He's going to face a guy that's going to bring a very, very, very heavy pace. And I'm looking for Dawson, round 3, +1000, 1100, you know, whatever you get there. I really like that line. I think he eventually gets to this guy in the 3rd round.
Solid angle there. Clint, what are you looking at here for this one?
I tend to agree with my guy, Narco Cop. I think Glenn is a flash in the pan, if I'm being honest. I think that he's a guy that came back from a long layoff and got a chinny fighter, a perfect opponent, and that's how he got the big win that he got his hand raised last time out. Everyone thinks he's this new, improved version 2.0. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think he's going to end up on his back. He's got solid defensive grappling, so I do think that Glenn is going to potentially struggle with him a little bit early, or not struggle, but, you know, just kind of wet blanket him, not be able to pass the guard, that kind of thing. But as the ground and pound works, as he heats up, as he gets going, eventually he's going to catch him in a transition. I think Glenn probably wins this thing by submission, but I like it the later the fight goes. I think he's a good parlay piece. I'm all in on Glenn here. I like it.
You mean Dawson by submission, right?
I'm sorry, Dawson. My mistake. I'm looking at the wrong name here on the screen.
You're good. Dawson by submission +260. Let's see, I'm +290 as well. Uncle Weezy, what are you looking
Glenn
at?
subs Dawson, I'll eat my shoe.
That'd be crazy. So, Weezy, what are you looking at?
Right there with Narco Cop. Grant Dawson to win in round 3 for +1000, which finishes off what will be this week's Party at Wheezy's parlay, the old 3-3-3. You guys, here we go. Jonathan Martinez to win in round 3 plus 1,600. Jeff Molina to win in round 3 plus 1,800. Grant Dawson to win in round 3 plus 1,000. $2 to win 7,106. Party at
Tailing right now.
Reese's
Tailing.
if this happens.
Let's go, Easy. Let's go. I'll be rooting for you. Might have sprinkle some of that myself, but yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think Dawson does get it done in round 3 as well, plus 1,100. I think he's going to grind him out and then eventually find that finish late. So I do like that play quite a bit. But yeah, we'll move on to the main event here, and we have a very interesting one. Paulo Costa going against Marvin Vettori. Lots of craziness going on throughout the week. It is now at 205. So I think we can find some spots on this one, though. So we'll start with Clint. Clint, what are you looking at for this main event?
Man, I was terrified of everything I saw on the scales from Paulo Costa in this main event, but at the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of what Nick Diaz did. I think there's a chance that Paulo Costa is just uninterested in the fight game these days. I think there's a chance that he didn't take this fight seriously whatsoever. You don't miss weight by 20 pounds having taken a fight seriously for your training. So his cardio probably is not going to be up to snuff. Now, he can end anybody's life in that first round, but Vittori has proven to be ultra durable in his lifetime. So I think we can count on him to continue being as such. And if this thing gets into the second, the third round, eventually he's going to start slowing Costa down. Eventually he's going to get him to the mat. Eventually he's going to start to tire him. And I heard in an interview where Costa basically challenged the punching power of Marvin Vettori. We know he's a sub guy. We know he's a skilled grappler. He likes to choke people out. But at the end of the day, he's the type of guy that when you tell him he can't do something, he goes out there and he does it to prove you wrong. So I think we're going to see a ground and pound TKO from Marvin Vettori in this spot. I got in early. I got 2.6 units on Marvin Vettori at minus 130. That line is looking pretty juicy right about now. He's all the way up to minus 200. And then I did kind of a complimentary hedge bet on the under 4.5. I also got 2.6 at minus 130 on that one. Marvin Vettori via finish is going to be just the end-all be-all to finish my day today, as long as he gets it done, not at the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the 5th round. Marvin Vettori by decision is a slight loss, practically break even, and then Paulo Costa by finish is a slight loss, practically break even. I think I'm in a pretty good spot playing it that way. If you want to go Marvin Vettori by inside the distance or something along those lines at this phase, I think that's probably the way to go. Or just bet violence. Bet the under, because I don't see this fight making it the distance, guys. I really don't. Costa eventually is going to get worn down in this one, or he's going to be too much to handle, and that's going to happen early.
Yeah, I think you broke it down perfectly, actually. I think it's going to be Costa early or Vettori late. I did sprinkle the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round props. I think you did as well, Clint. So hopefully one of those come through for us. But yeah, I'm going to take the under 4.5 rounds, minus 142. I think someone gets finished no matter what. I don't think Costa has taken this seriously. He's like laughing about him missing weight. He's laughing about him going up a weight class. I don't think he's prepared for this fight. So I think he has about a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds to get it done. If not, I think Vettori takes over, get that late finish. So either way,
my prediction is 4.
Under 4.5, minus 142. What'd you say, Clint?
My prediction is round 4. I'm saying round 4 TKO. I think round 3, Paulo Costa, we know he's done, but he survives. And then round 4, Vettori puts him on the mat and he just curls up and goes home.
I like it. I like it. So, Narco, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Pretty much on the same book with you guys, under 4.5. People, they mentioned it on the show yesterday. It was James, it was Tajik, it was Clint. This guy, we're missing by 20 pounds, guys. This guy actually asked for 195, couldn't even make 195, then asked for 205. Think about that. This guy did not put in the cardio for a guy that already gasses. I don't see how this guy makes it out of that 3rd round. So the under 4.5, the Vettori round 3, round 4 at plus 700 on DraftKings is a play. This guy's not dedicated at this point to me. He's got a big following. This guy's asking, Logan Paul and all this other crap he's doing. So he's not looking for MMA fights. This guy's looking for other ways of making money. And, I don't think this guy put in the work. For a guy that already gasses and did not put in the work, this guy is going to gas here. If he doesn't get Vettori out, and Vettori is very, very durable, he is pretty much screwed after the 7.5 minute mark.
I agree. I think one guy wants it and one guy doesn't want it. We all know who does want it. Shout out to Boston Nick and the guys going live pretty soon here on Pub Sports Radio. Go check them out. And then finally, Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Under 4.5, echoing everything that you guys said. I just don't think this fight's out of the fourth round, to be honest with you. And I'm going under 4.5, minus 142 on FanDuel. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Sounds good. So we'll kick it around. Clint, let them know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week.
You can find me at Diehard MMA Pod on Twitter. I am right here as well on Pub Sports Radio. I do the Monday Breakdown where we go over the entire card. Of course, we've got the Total Takedown on Thursday, the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show on Friday, and from time to time you'll find me live with the boys for Fight Night, but always on Twitter.
Sounds good. Yeah, that Monday show, one of my favorite shows of Clint. There we have Narco Cop as well, who just has been killing it on the Dana White's Contender Series. Narco, let him know about that and what else you have going on.
Thank you very much again, Brady, for having me. Thank you to everybody in chat. Yes, I have a show on Mondays. It's called the Dana White Contender Series show. We break down the Dana White Contender Series. We've been absolutely crushing that show. I also have a show on Fridays. It's called the Lambeau Place Podcast. I had Clint on yesterday. We had a great time. That show has been giving us huge winners week after week. So please, follow my Narco Cop MMA on YouTube, Narco Cop on Twitter. Thank you very much to everybody in chat, in the community, for joining us today.
For sure. And then last but not least, we have Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, let them know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, check me out on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday night with Brady for Stat Diggers, 5:15 p.m. Central Time. Every Tuesday night with Brady, AJ MMA Betting, Luke from Sparring with Reality Betting for the DraftKings show. And then on my channel on YouTube, Uncle Weezy, I do balls deep breakdowns of fights. I do a full card breakdown every Tuesday night after the Contender Series called Just the Tip, at MMA Weezy on Twitter. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Let's stack some cash tickets like flapjacks tonight.
Heck yeah, I cannot wait. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. I'll be on with Uncle Weezy on Pub Sports Radio tomorrow, 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, breaking down UFC 267. So lots of great content coming up. 2 pay-per-views in a row, 2 very stacked cards in a row. Looking forward to it. Daz with the dono on the way out. See everyone in the Pub Sports for live betting. Appreciate you, Daz. Appreciate everybody. Leave a like on your way out and subscribe. Check out these guys as well. And good luck for UFC Vegas 41. Let's make some money. See you guys.